that's ultimately what the report is. It kind of is a snapshot outline of a company's annual ESG sustainability performance. And it's published. So a lot of companies putting themselves out there. It's making yourselves quite vulnerable, but that's a good thing because you're putting your performance out there. It's not all good. You're kind of showcasing maybe the areas that are a bit weak, but again, that's a good thing. That's being open, being transparent, and how that then forms part of your ESG strategy going forward to kind of improve performance going forward as well. So why are more and more companies producing these annual corporate sustainability reports? And Laura, we're going to get into this shortly with you guys and why it was important to Elliott. But I suppose, like, just in summary, it's helping companies become more transparent about their performance. It demonstrates accountability ultimately, and it really helps businesses to start to build trust with stakeholders. Everyone wants to work for or work with a more responsible business. And those stakeholders might be clients, might be regulators, could be employees, suppliers, investors, even members of the public. So it's all about being a little bit more transparent and through that process, ultimately building trust with those stakeholders. Mm-hmm. And it also provides information to those stakeholders, clients, investors, whoever it might be, how that particular business is managing the risks and opportunities, the sustainability risks and opportunities presented by the business in terms of their business operations, whatever that might be. And a big driver at the minute for many is actually the clients, because a lot of clients now, for example, in the construction sector, want to work with contractors that can help them achieve their own ESG targets and objectives. So, for example, net zero. So, if you're publishing your report, you're kind of clearly demonstrating that you've got a good methodology in place, you've got robust policies and procedures. As a result, you've got access to accurate, reliable data. So you're ultimately building confidence with that client that you can provide them with all of this information potentially across those projects, which they can then use to help them on their journey as well. So it is really helping to build that business case as well. There's also a lot more regulations in place. In the EU, we do have CSRD, although it was sort of streamlined, so we say earlier this year with the omnibus. Yeah. But there's still a lot of regulation out there. There's a lot more scrutiny as well. So companies are very much looking at this as a way to help demonstrate compliance with all of that. But Laura, I think what we should do is, before we maybe just get into Elliott's stuff, I think it's important that we look back a little bit. Companies have been producing sustainability reports for a good few years. It's becoming more and more common, but there have been a lot of companies producing them maybe this past decade as well. But I think there's been a lot of mistakes that have happened, and I think we need to kind of highlight those so that we don't make them again. And so it's really those mistakes that we've all been guilty of maybe making in the past that has maybe damaged the trust that would typically go with publishing a report like this. I suppose, like, I'm thinking of, like, greenwashing would be a really good example. Businesses making claims that they just can't back up. There's no evidence. They're telling lovely stories, but there's nothing there to back it up. And I suppose for you guys, that was a big thing. You obviously from the outset wanting to avoid all of that. So was the evidence stuff, was that a big part of what you guys wanted to achieve?
It was, Liam, yeah. Thanks again for having me. I must stop letting you talk me into these things. But yeah, the evidence base was hugely important for us, considering the type of clients and the projects that we're going after. A lot of our tenders that we see coming through are very ESG heavy. Some more so than the finance, which maybe 3 years ago we kind of predicted, but it's starting to come through now. So we need to be able to have the data, the information to back up our claims. The greenwashing part of that. So you would see companies shouting from the rooftops how great they are and how valued their employees are. But sometimes if you talk to the employees, they don't necessarily agree with that or feel the same way. So as long as I've been working with Elliott Group, they've always said that their people are the greatest asset, and that's where we started. We started with our own people, educating our own people, and just building from the inside out
Yeah.
encouraging them to report. There was a lot of stuff that people were doing on site that
Mhm.
wasn't being recorded because they maybe didn't think it was relevant, and it
Yeah.
was. Um, so we only put in stuff then into our report, our annual report, that we could definitely back up.
But that's critical. That's brilliant because actually, I think again, looking back a little bit, that's where people fell down in the past, where the data was inconsistent.
Mhm.
It wasn't accurate. It wasn't reliable. It really shouldn't have been used in
Yeah,
probably a lot of cases. So I think like understanding that from the outset and making sure that you've got those robust processes in place, it gives you the confidence that
yeah.
what you're putting out there, you can always stand over. Like it's so important.
It's the same
Um,
even like we were doing when we were doing our baseline assessment, we based it in 2021, and there was so many gaps in the data.
yeah,
So what we have it took a lot. It took almost a year to get everything that I needed to get a true reading for our baseline for 2021.
yeah,
But then when we got our carbon emissions for last year, it
yeah,
was a lot easier
yeah, yeah.
because people were sick of me asking them for data for mileage, for fuel usage and all that. They just automatically are putting it up. And that was the way to get me to leave them alone. And I got what I needed. So
Would it be okay if we asked a question while we were on hold?
yeah, of course, John. I'll try
Yeah,
my best to answer.
no, it's fine. You mentioned about you're seeing the ESG requirements more in tender documents.
Yes.
Is that more prevalent in any particular sector or is it across the board?
Um, Public sector, John, we've seen a great shift towards it. Particularly what you've got your consider constructors, which is almost standard practice in the industry at this stage, but we've noticed in public tenders they're looking for us to go above and beyond. So our ESG report that we produced this year actually is going into tenders now, which is helping us significantly.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Good.
Can I ask a question as well?
Yes, Elena.
Yeah, thank you. What about SMEs? I know that in previous legislation, SMEs were obliged to present their reporting from January 2026, but
Mhm.
now it's been changed, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, what is the expectation now with regard to SMEs and who need to present the report?
Yeah, so we're an SME and we were due to report like yourselves in 2026, but I'd already started on the journey of creating the report and I put a significant amount of work into it. So I just carried on and pulled the report together. There's no obligation on us to publish it, but we will be publishing it on our website and posting it on all social media and everything. Um, I suppose the reason for it is for transparency, for we find as well like our new starts coming into the business, even whenever we be going to colleges to give talks to students, they're more clued in to ESG. A lot of the times previously they wouldn't have even know what ESG stood for. So I think it helps you attract the right talent to your business as well. If they see what you stand for, you're gonna attract people that stand for the same thing.
So, it's more voluntarily, isn't right?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And in terms of compliance, is there any dates where SMEs have to do that?
Not to my knowledge. Liam might be able to answer that a bit better for us. But I haven't seen any dates coming through.
Okay. And are there any standard forms that need to be, that you complete and where they can be found?
There's not, no. There's no template at the minute. I know there was talk maybe about a year or two ago that there was going to be a portal to upload where you would fill in like a standard questionnaire and that, but I haven't, that was never rolled out, obviously, because we're no longer required to report under CSRD. Um, so we just, well, our marketing department, thankfully, are excellent and pull together a very good report for me once I give them the data. So there's no standard template at the minute, no.
So if we go to your website, we can see what you're reporting on. So that will be the report that
Exactly.
we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
And
up there yet.
this-
We're just putting the final tweaks to it, but I will hopefully whenever this kicks off again, I'll share a couple of pages from it just to give you an idea. But the full report will be up on the website.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Can I ask you, Laura, how many people roughly within your organization contribute towards this? Like, is this every division has an input, or are there key individuals or key departments that have to feed into you to obviously prepare that report?
Yeah, Rory, so we have our ESG committee, and whenever we set that up, we tried our best anyhow to take somebody from every aspect of the business. So we've got our CFO is in there, we've got an engineer in there, we've got our health and safety director in there, we've got plant and procurement in there as well. So it was really to make sure that everyone's invested and that we were getting feed in from all departments. With regards to providing the information that I need, every single one of our sites is registered on SustainIQ, obviously, but our site admins play a massive role. They're the ones that are uploading the data, the waste transfers, the fuel deliveries, and everything, and then that all gets stored on SustainIQ, and I can go in and analyze the data. But we've seen, well, our directors, our board of directors in particular, have taken a huge interest in it. Thankfully for me, it's made my job a lot easier. But we've seen positives. We've seen a lot of saving already just by implementing a few changes, which has instigated bigger changes within the business.
Brilliant,
Okay,
Laura.
thank you.
Sorry, folks. Apologies. My laptop completely crashed there. So,
All
sounds
right.
like
They were grilling me. They were grilling me,
you
Liam. Don't worry.
kept the show on the road. Laura, listen,
We're doing all right without you, Liam.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
I
can
know.
go on there.
I'll go and put the kettle on, folks. I'm quite happy.
Thank you,
that's
Laura.
brilliant.
No problem, Rory.
Apologies again, but no, thank you, Laura, for that. Laura, you've maybe already covered this just when I was trying to get back in there. Just obviously you've come through the process.
Mhm.
You guys have just done it for the first time. You know, it was an enormous piece of work that
Yeah.
just pulled together. Like, you've maybe covered it already, but if not, like, can you shout out some of the big challenges that you encountered during this process? Lessons learned, things that
Yeah.
you're going to do better next year, or things you know to avoid next year?
Yeah, well, actually, Elena asked about the reporting and the requirements around it.
Yeah.
And why did we continue to report? And that was because of the amount of work that was already put in.
Yes.
And I wasn't going to let it waste. It was 2 years of my life that I'm never going to get back.
Yeah.
So yeah, the challenges were getting everybody, as I mentioned just before you dropped off, to feed into it. But I think once they realize if they just quickly give me the information, I'm going to stop annoying them. The first report was a lot of work. I don't see the next report being as intense because I know what I'm looking at. Exactly. I know what numbers to get, where to get them from, and I'm hoping it'll not take me another 6 months to pull the final report together. Plus then we can do year-on-year comparison, which is ultimately what we want.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And listen, in terms of that report, and I suppose like what good looks like. There's a lot of different reports out there of a lot of different standards, but I think right now the main thing is getting started, making a start. But in terms of your report, you guys did do your double materiality. So you guys know what is material to Elliott Group. So that's obviously the focus. Those are the focus areas. Surely that was a big help in terms of the structure and the focus areas that you want to report on ultimately.
Yeah, well, doing the DMA, as you said, highlighted what was material to us and what effect we were having on the world, what effect the world is having on us, and which then helped drive our KPIs for people, planet, and prosperity. We have them all highlighted. They're all aligned with the ESRS. So
that's the big
DMA
thing.
did help, and it did align. I think the fact that the ESRS are headings that we can fall under, it helped me instead of us having to make up titles for these things, they're there in multicolor because it's not black and white.
But it's a big part of what good looks like. That's a big part of kind of like putting a really good solid sustainability report together, basically aligning it with a framework. And that's what ESRS is. So the fact that you did your DMA, you know what's material to the business, and then that applying those ESRS topics.
Yeah.
That's the framework, that's the structure. So no, I think that's so important. And then with that, you get the blueprint, but you get the consistency, because then next year, as you say, there will be proper year-on-year benchmarking
Yeah.
based on your ESRS kind of
Yeah.
structure.
And I'd say once our ESG report goes up there, it's going to look different to everybody else's, because
Yeah.
we're not the first people to have published ours, but I have gone through, and even though I think I know what I'm looking for, or what I know, some of them would nearly confuse you more. The amount of
Yeah.
jargon, the amount of
Oh,
abbreviations that are thrown in, and 3 pages telling you what ESG is. If
yeah.
if you don't know what ESG is, you're not going to be looking for an ESG report.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah,
there's no need to re-educate people if they're going looking for that report, they know what they're looking for. So
That's
I have
really
seen,
interesting.
yeah, I
That's
have
really
seen
interesting.
reports that are like 20 and 30 pages long. I think ours
Yeah.
is 12 or 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, that's really interesting. I think you're on the money there too, Laura. So, like, no jargon, basically
Yeah.
clear English, very clear, very concise, and evidence based. Because I remember being with you guys a few months back, and it was very focused on the metrics. Do you know, it was,
Yeah.
and no, I think that, and I think, just to do a bit of a comparison, I suppose the last 10 years of sustainability, that sustainability tab on websites, everyone telling a lovely story, but not backing it up, wouldn't really
Yeah.
withstand any scrutiny, compared to what the next 10 years looks like, which is very data driven,
Mhm.
and it will be scrutinized. And I think I think you're 100% right. I think it's important that that's built in from the outset. Tell me this: when you were going through the process, and again, this is something I love about you guys, like, so much good. You guys are doing some incredible stuff. It's amazing. But you're the first to admit, it's a journey. You
Yeah.
have started out. So through the process of pulling this annual report together, have you identified the gaps, and what are you doing about that? Like, what's the plan so that next year you've kind of started to plug not all of, but
Mhm.
some of those gaps in the plan?
Yeah, well, we sort of embraced our downfallings and made them our KPIs.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
So
brilliant.
if we need to do education pieces, that's under our people. If we need to reduce increase, sorry, the
Yes.
recycled material going off our site, that's under our planet. We've just, there are gaps, there's no point in hiding it.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
going to be thanked. In fact, you'll probably be found out
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
hiding something like that and
Absolutely.
accused of greenwashing, which nobody wants.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've just put them in as our KPIs, and we're
Perfect.
working towards them.
And it's all about disclosures, like, so no,
Yeah.
that's perfect. That's brilliant. Just out of, and the other thing I know you guys have done this year as well, but I think it's probably going to be more next year's report. But like, you've really started to build the business case for ESG in-house,
Yeah.
and you've got the board on board, and they're kind of stepping up with investment,
Yeah.
and so on. So
Hugely. Yeah. I think it was our CFO said maybe about 3 years ago, sustainability has to be sustainable. There's no
yeah,
point in us throwing money at something that's not going to give us any benefit back. Our procurement manager actually sourced, which was probably the second biggest win
yeah,
for the environmental department,
yeah,
the battery storage solution generators for our
yeah,
site. There's huge benefits to it. Yes, the money's a good one. We've seen a 47% reduction in fuel usage, sorry, on that site in the
wow,
3 months that we've had it, since the 3 months before. But like I mentioned at the start, it's our people that we are invested in, so there's no fumes on the site coming from it. The noise, for safety reasons, if nothing else, our tower crane drivers reported that he can hear the guys on the floor and on the ground floor having a conversation.
yeah,
If there's any safety risks, it's communicated very quickly across the site. Fire alarms are being heard during our fire drills. There's massive benefits. We're keeping our neighbours happy. We are building on a postage stamp in the city centre of Dublin,
yeah,
and we are literally 3 walls surrounded by apartments,
yeah,
and there's no generator running.
yeah.
Um,
That's amazing. Yeah,
yeah. So in the last 3 months, the demand on our generator is 24 hours every day, so it's 24
yeah,
hours, 7 days a week. And over the last 3 months, 8% of that time, it has actually kicked in and burnt fuel to charge the battery,
Yeah.
which is a huge win. And the board of directors acknowledged it, and we've invested in more of them. They're not cheap, but there's a massive benefit to them.
Benefit. I mean, there's the cost benefit, there's the environmental benefit. Never even thought about the impact on local communities and the benefit there as well. So I think, and again, I think that's what I love about publishing these reports on an annual basis. You're able to share these stories with the industry.
Yeah, that's what I said that to you when we were prepping for this. I was like, I can't wait to do next year's report because we have so much more to put into it.
But that's brilliant, building the momentum. But no, I just think that's what it's about. But you're building a business case, and also you're building confidence within the sector, and hopefully others see that and they come on board as well. And that's what it's about. Like we have to share this knowledge that, you know, and this experience and this understanding that we've all got, because really this has to be a sector approach. This is not something Elliott's can achieve on their own. It's all of us together. So no, that's brilliant. Laura, just conscious of the time and me dipping out for half of it, but so when you guys sat down to put together this report, like what are the main opportunities? What were your main goals, I suppose, in terms of publishing this report and presenting this level of transparency for Elliott Group across different stakeholders as well? Like what was the hope, I suppose, in putting this out there into the public domain?
Yeah, well, just when you were off, John asked a question about the tenders, and is there any particular sort of sector that we find? And yes, public procurement are hugely into ESG and what we can do to help them achieve their goals. So we were hoping obviously that it would then be used in tenders going forward, which it is. It's literally put into our tenders and it's sent out warts and all to potential clients, which has helped us and benefited us greatly. I suppose to build the trust of our stakeholders as well. The fact that if a project is going to be a BREEAM project, you have to have 3 tons per 100 meters squared of recycled content, or 3 ton of waste per 100 meters squared of a project. We're able to show that last year we had 87.5% diverted from landfill. So a client's going to look at that and say, okay, well, these guys, they're diverting from landfill already. They might be able to help us hit that target in BREEAM. So that's where it's all. Yeah,
that's a real life example, though. The opportunity to take a leadership position, an opportunity to become more competitive in the marketplace. Again, building that case for all of this from a commercial perspective.
Yeah.
What about from a people perspective? You had mentioned something again a good few months ago around like your staff retention, all of that kind of stuff. You are very much kind of, the people bit is very important. I always think to Elliott's as well.
Yeah, no, we mentioned this when you
sorry,
were gone.
sorry, don't worry.
Sorry, but it was just the new generation coming through. They're invested in it, so we have to show, to attract the right people to our company. You have to show what we're invested in as well.
We're definitely seeing more and more of it. And I suppose like the big one to shout out in terms of opportunities too is to reduce risk.
Yeah.
Like as you've mentioned BREEAM, you've mentioned contract requirements, there's legislation, there's more and more of it. There's going to be more scrutiny, there's going to be more accusations of greenwashing. And you know, you've got that data out there, it's evidence-based, you've got everything you need to back it up, you're doing what you say you're doing. So there's opportunities there just to reduce risk, I think, as well. So no, look, that's brilliant. I suppose, Laura, this is your first report.
Yeah.
And I know you guys have big plans, like it's exciting and we're delighted to be on board and we love going on the journey with you. What does the future look like? I mean, the big thing here, and we've mentioned it already, is aligning sustainability, ESG performance with financial. Is that something in the next few years you think within the business will start to come together?
Yeah, definitely, particularly even looking now at tenders where it's nearly the sustainability ESG is weighted the same, if not very close to the financial aspects of it. It's just aligning ISO standards. It's a lot easier. Even our last surveillance audit, and we're going for recertification of for environmental ISO in January. So it's very easy for us to show our assessor this is what we're doing with regards to recycled content, with
Yeah.
regards to our people, our training, everything, I suppose, is SustainIQ.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a sales pitch because I don't work
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
you,
No, but
but
look,
everything is there on SustainIQ. I'm able to very quickly show the amount of water that was used on any of our sites, all of our sites, compare our sites. We can quickly identify if there's a huge usage of water on any sites, and I can just phone the project manager. We were filling the tanks, or there
yes.
was something, they'll give me a reason. If there's no reason, then we'll investigate it. But yeah, I think the future of the reports, they'll be together with the financial reports.
More and more in depth. And I think, like, again, the big thing going forward, I suppose, is the best practice. It's aligning with a framework. You have done that, ESRS. It's starting to build in the financial performance and aligning with that. Again, as you say, you have started sort of down that road as well. And, I think as well, when you look at like what future sustainability reporting looks like, technology is a big part of it, access to accurate, reliable, real-time data. And again, like, you've invested in SustainIQ. So you are, I think in terms of the roadmap there, you are well on the way. So it is, I'm looking forward to seeing next year's report already. Laura, again, sorry, my fault, conscious of time. And I'd love for you to share with the guys on the call today, maybe a little bit of a high-level summary, snapshot of the report. I know it's going to be published anyway, but are you happy to maybe just scoot through a few of the key highlights of the report? Brilliant, thank you. Rachel, could you maybe? Brilliant, thank you.
There we go. So executive summary, that is really just for tell people that's the only place where I will tell you what ESG and CSRD stand for. And then we just do a bit on our quality, our values, our people being in there.
But I love that, Laura, because that's
Yeah.
culture. That is the
Yeah.
Elliott culture right there. And you've got that up front and center, and it's very much at the core of everything that you do. So I love that that's kind of built in there, because it absolutely matters. It's who you guys are.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rachel. Oh, there's a bit of a mess up there. Yeah. So our targets, basically, people, planet, prosperity. The KPIs that I mentioned are there, which are our gaps, and we'll own them and we'll build towards them.
And
That's
your three key pillars there.
Yeah.
That you guys are trying. So the report itself, when everyone can view it on the website or whatever, it's kind of built across those three key areas. Yeah, that's brilliant. Okay.
And then our highlights. So this is our wins, I suppose, of 2024. So we've set our targets, our KPIs, consider constructors. Like, there's so much that everybody on this call is probably already doing, but don't think that it can go in. Like, already we're above our 87.75% diversion from landfill this year. So that's going to change next year. Under the social, any voluntary charity work we're doing, last year we sent 16 volunteers to South Africa. This year we're sending 20. So we're building and building and building. At the minute, I think the last count, we had 13 different nationalities employed. So all this it's just getting bigger and growing. Our consider constructors were, I think, 3 of our sites got 45 out of 45. One of them got 46 out of 45. So that average has gone up. So that's my favorite page in it, and I think that's the only page really that most people will be interested in. That's
the numbers,
the highlights. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And again, it's good to see the governance piece in there as well. It's not just all about the environment.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
You brought that on. So just within the report, Laura, as well, have you included the DMA within the report at all?
We have, we've got a page on the DMA, and we've also got a page on comparison. It is comparing 2021, which was our baseline year, to 2024, and it's not on the screen, but I have wrote down our carbon emissions. So in 2021 we were 21.34 tons per million euro, and then in 2024 we reduced that to 12.95, so from 22 to 13 really tons per million euro, which is for us, I think, is good. I can't see as big of a drop next year because we're getting more and more work, but as long as it doesn't go north, I'm happy.
No, absolutely. But look, and again, you normalize all the data against your turnover and stuff. So I think it's you're making big investments in that space, so I can see it go in the right direction for quite a while.
Yeah.
To be honest, and then big focus here on the people aspect and the community as well.
Yeah, well, it's again to avoid any sort of greenwashing allegations. There is what we said we're doing in the report. There we are doing it out in the community. Social, that's mostly the social. We've got the environmental piece there in the middle is actually out in Adamstown. We've been working out in Adamstown for 5 years now, and that's Cran. They went in and did a project with one of the primary schools in Adamstown teaching about biodiversity. So it's encouraging the next generations coming up, and the fact that there's builders coming in telling them about planting trees, I think can only be a good thing.
Yeah.
And then just interaction with schools and creches beside us. I think there's one more slide there, Rachel. Yeah. And then just our people, if there's a reason to celebrate, we will find it and we will have a party.
Brilliant.
So
I've seen a few of those. They're good days, yeah. No, that's brilliant. And again, look, the report's out there. People can view it. I think it's really good. I think it's brilliant, actually, because I think what you've done, you've got the numbers, you've got the metrics, the evidence, but you've also got the narrative. You've told the story, and the culture piece comes across as well. And I think that's so important because that's who you are, and that's what you get, I think, when you start working through the report. So, no, really looking forward to having a good read of it. So, no, thank you so much, Laura, for that. I really, really appreciate it. Listen, I suppose, have you any nuggets of advice for those that are on the call today that haven't yet done this and know they need to? They maybe in the next financial year maybe need to make a start. Any sort of wee nuggets of advice you think you could share to help folks make a start?
Yeah, I think just don't be afraid of it. Whatever you're going to put out there, you can only put out what you've got. There's no point in comparing yourself to another company that is out there, because if I was to go and compare us with the tier 1 contractors, I'd shy away into a corner and never put anything out there. Just own your own metrics, own your own numbers, and put them out there. If you come up under any scrutiny, which I highly doubt you will, because you're being transparent and showing your hand, and then just build on it from there.
Yeah, no, I think that's brilliant. And actually, I think people need to hear more of that, because I think there is an element of, I don't know if fear is the right word, but people are
But nobody's
cautious.
perfect.
Yeah, no, but this is it. This is it. Nobody is. And we're all still so early in the journey that I think just, making the start is really important. Laura, thank you so much for that. Honestly, really, really appreciate you taking the time, especially having come through that process. But that's the best time to get you, when it's still all very, very fresh. Rachel, I think there was a poll we were going to throw up just around challenges, just to ask people maybe what are some of the challenges that are maybe preventing folks from publishing their data, and putting that report out there on an annual basis. So there we go. Yep. Just what are the main barriers, folks? If you don't mind just letting us know. Maybe it's not having access to the data, maybe not having internal resource, maybe a bit of a lack of understanding of what this is all about in-house, not having the buy-in, particularly at board level, or not having the time. I think, Laura, that's one thing that comes through. It's the actual time is
very
unreal.
time consuming. Yeah.
Especially that first one, as you say, next year you've got that blueprint now. Which has been so important. So no, look, thank you so much, Laura. Really appreciate it. Rachel, I think what we'll do, if you want to skip on there to the next slide, folks, we'll wrap things up. Just again, conscious of time, we're slightly over. Any questions, please drop them into the chat, and we'll pick them up in a minute. Just to close things out, folks, again, just a little bit about us. We're the all-in-one ESG reporting software. Over 250 data capture points currently working across our 4-pillar methodology. We created this methodology to kind of make it easy for businesses like Elliott to capture their data across all of their projects, so that they could easily pull it together and report. So in terms of our 4 pillars, we've got responsible procurement, environmental management, people health and diversity, and community engagement and partnering. So all of our customers track their performance across all their projects across those 4 pillars on screen at the minute. So what we'll do, because of time, we are going to be sending out email tomorrow to everyone that attended. We'll include an ebook with a lot of information about putting a good, robust report together. I think Rachel put a recording of this presentation as well, just if you want to read back, listen back, maybe listen to a little bit more from Laura on some of the lessons that Elliott's have experienced by pulling this report together. So that'll all go out tomorrow, or certainly in the next couple of days or so. But a lot more information available on our website, a lot of resources on our website, including case studies. But if you want to chat with us, please reach out, get us at hello@SustainIQ.com as well. We'll also provide the results of those polls as well, because I think they're interesting. So we'll include those in the feedback as well. Any questions there, guys, before we maybe sign out?
Yeah, there's one there about voluntary reporting framework. We are not following a framework at the minute. No. Liam, you did mention one for me to look into, but I haven't quite got around to it.
You guys are very aligned with the ESRS framework as part of CSRD. So you did the DMA, you've identified which ESRS topics are applicable to the business, and that's what you guys are focusing in on. So that would be your framework really at the minute. But you know, I like ESRS, guys. I would look at it, and even if you're not based in the EU, even if you're UK based, for example, the European Sustainability Reporting Standard, I think it's a really good framework. And again, what we'll do tomorrow when we're sending out information, we will include a link to ESRS and also other frameworks, GRI, there's quite a few out there, the UNSDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. So we'll include links to different ones that you can maybe look at and explore. But ESRS is one I like, I have to say. Oh, one more question there in the chat. Let me just see. So can you provide tips for the reporting process automation? Automation. I'm not quite sure, Elena. Could you maybe jump on, if you don't mind, and maybe just explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, my question is about automation. So how companies can make this reporting more painful, less painful for them as a process. So what can be automated, and how to employ technology to make these reports less tedious and more easy flowing?
Yeah, there's, I mean, certainly through technology, absolutely. So even, for example, SustainIQ, so we have an API. So it allows software to talk to each other. So for example, we can integrate with vehicle trackers, and we can pull through scope 1 emissions from company fleet, or maybe an accounting software. We even integrate with like site sign-in biometric software, where we could pull a lot of scope 3 emissions. We can get a lot of diversity breakdown of the workforce. So there is huge potential within software to integrate so that you can pull and push a lot of the data. And that works well. I think at the minute around 82% of data coming into SustainIQ. This is not necessarily with Elliott's, this would kind of be across the board. 82% of the data coming into the platform is coming through integrations, coming through automations. So it's a big part of what we do, and it is important, Elena, and that's a good question, because ESG is huge. The amount of data required is it's massive, and it's getting bigger. And so it's really impossible for one person, even one department at this stage. And so tech has a big part to play in pulling this together.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And I get a little bit more information around, we have an ebook on integrations, actually. So maybe Rachel, maybe include that as well in the feedback out to the folks, so you can kind of learn a little bit more about the opportunities. It's not, I'm making it all sound very easy, that it can be quite complex. We really need to do a data scoping exercise. We need to understand, does the data that we require, does it live in those other software products? So there's a piece of work that needs to be done first, but there's certainly potential. Okay, any other questions? Okay, folks, no, that's fine. Listen, just appreciate we are over there. My fault, my laptop packed up, so I appreciate you all hanging in there. Laura, once again, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate you taking the time. really interesting learning more from you guys. Always excited to see what's coming next. So thank you so much, folks. Thank you. All the best, and we will be in touch tomorrow or the day after with a follow-up. Thank you. Cheers now. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.